Have you wondered what future aircraft carriers will operate in the Mediterranean and what we know about them? Today we're going to try to do just that, to condense the information we have about these announced vessels or the rumors that have emerged, focusing on Spain, France, Turkey, and of course also on Italy. Let's start with Spain because a few weeks ago I told you that I wasn't aware of any future projects for a Spanish Catobar carrier, which Spain needs for a number of reasons that we'll see in a moment. However, my Spanish friends have made me aware of the existence of a rather ambitious project for Madrid that goes in this direction. So Spanish friends, let's start with you. The Spanish fleet is considering building a new aircraft carrier based on the French nuclear-powered aircraft carrier de Gaulle. But in this case, Spain would opt for conventional propulsion in line with the country's stance on nuclear energy. According to sources, the project is already the subject of preliminary studies by Navantia, the Spanish shipbuilding group tasked with analyzing the feasibility of the ship. Just for comparison, the French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle exceeds 42,500 tons of full load displacement. The future Spanish ship should fall into this category of conventional units dedicated to Catobar operations. From what we know, the flight deck would be designed to accommodate up to 30 next-generation combat aircraft. And this is where a problem arises. One of the main reasons pushing Madrid toward a Catobar solution concerns the gradual retirement of the Harriers, short takeoff and vertical landing aircraft currently used by the Spanish fleet thanks to the presence within the Spanish fleet, of a ship with a Stoviel flight deck, the Juan Carlos, which does not allow aircraft like the F-35 Rafale or F-18 to operate on its flight deck. The new ship, on the other hand, would allow the use of Catobar fixed-wing aircraft with better performance than Stovel platforms. One of the problems with this type of aircraft carrier is that today the Western market can only offer the Harrier. As mentioned, these are certainly not new generation aircraft as much as we love these historic planes, and the F-35B. We know that Spain will most likely never join the F-35 program, but it could aim for aircraft like the Turkish Khan if they decide to create a version capable of operating on Catobar aircraft carriers. At the moment, it seems that Madrid is aiming for this fighter for its own air force, but right now we have no news or indications of naval versions for the Khan. Even the FCAS, the 6th generation fighter program, if it manages to survive the disputes among the partners, could see a naval version. I know a lot of ifs, but these are the facts we have. Alongside the manned component, Madrid is also analyzing the integration of unmanned aircraft into its future naval aviation arm. Among the programs under consideration is the CERTAP project, developed in collaboration between Airbus and Navantia, as well as the Turkish TB3 drone by Baykar. But can't these drones replace the payload and performance of a manned aircraft as of today? If the future Spanish aircraft carrier reaches a more advanced stage, we will obviously report on it, but there still remains a huge question mark about the aircraft chosen for the flight deck. Let's move on to France now, where our French friends have a very different situation. In fact, here the start of construction has been confirmed and we have definite data about the future aircraft carrier. Starting with the name France Libre, a tribute to the men and women of France who resisted after the rapid advance of the Painters' army. Austrian in the Second World War. We avoid mentioning him to keep from attracting the wrath of the social media algorithm. The announcement came directly from Macron at a naval group facility. The nuclear-powered ship in this case will represent the future of the French naval aviation component and will replace the aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle, which is scheduled to be retired from active service in 2038. According to the current plan, the new unit is expected to remain operational for about 45 years. The future France Libre will be one of the largest naval units ever built by France. The design includes a length of about 310 meters, a flight deck width of nearly 90 meters, and a displacement of 80,000 tons. The ship will use two K-22 pressurized water nuclear reactors, and the propulsion system will allow the aircraft carrier to reach a maximum speed of 27 knots. A full crew will operate on board, with a total of about 2,000 people, including both the ship's crew and the embarked air group personnel. One of the central elements of the project concerns the flight deck. France Libre will be equipped with 3 EMALS electromagnetic catapults and 3 arresting gear systems, both of which are American-made. This type of configuration will allow for an increase in the number of daily air operations during high-intensity missions, and the expected rate will reach about 60 sorties per day. There aren't many doubts about the embarked air wing. It will initially include about 30 fixed-wing aircraft, specifically Rafale M in the F5 version. To these will be added 3 E-2D radar aircraft and up to 6 NH-90 helicopters. The program also includes the possible integration of combat UAVs, which will benefit from the EMALS catapults that help reduce stress on this type of platform. As with Spain, there remains the question about the FCAS program, which could provide the country with a naval version. Just imagine what a dream it would have been if Europe had produced a 6th-generation naval aircraft and one that operates from land, maybe collaborating without engaging in industrial rivalry. The construction of the aircraft carrier should begin in 2032, while its official entry into the fleet is expected in 2038. According to what Macron stated, the total value of the program is estimated at around 10 billion euros. Over 90% of the systems and components should come from French companies, and the program will support up to 14,000 jobs throughout the entire production chain. Let's move on to Turkey. In 2023, Erdogan announced that Turkey would acquire an aircraft carrier. Not a version of their current Anadolu, but a real aircraft carrier with conventional propulsion. Initially with a Stobar flight deck, but with the ambition to evolve into Katobar with systems coming from the Turkish national industry. Later, in 2025, one of the top military officials responsible for the construction announced that the ship has begun its journey and it could be delivered to the Turkish fleet even before the 2030s. According to the information released, the future MUGEM, this will be the name, will have a length of about 285 meters and a displacement of 60,000 tons. As you would logically expect, the new aircraft carrier will inherit much of the country's industrial setup, and you'd expect drones like the TB3 or the Kizil Elma. By the way, while I was preparing the episode, the news also came out that the Turkish Urget will see not only one version. This topic connects with the first aircraft carrier I told you about, since Spain has defense ties with Turkey, as I already mentioned, and has already signed contracts specifically regarding the Urget. According to current plans, the ship will be able to carry up to 50 aircraft. About 20 should be positioned on the flight deck, while another 30 will be housed in the internal hangar. Let's finish with Italy, to which we've dedicated some videos, but I think it's right to give a brief summary. In June 2025, as you may remember, in an interview given to Corriere della Sera, the then Chief of Staff of the Navy confirmed that our country is considering the possibility of developing a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier with a long-term vision. Currently, the Italian Navy has 2 large aircraft carrier units. The first is the Cavour, while the second is the LHD Trieste. When we talk about Italian nuclear programs, we always come back to 2 names, Minerva and Nuclitalia. As we read on the Ministry of Defense website, Minerva stands for Navalization of Nuclear Plant for Onboard Energy of Armed Vessels and has its roots in 2023. The project I'm summarizing for you involves studying the integration of a next-generation nuclear reactor on board a frontline military ship for propulsion and electricity generation. Moving on to Nuclitalia, in May 2025, this company was created involving Enel, Alsaldo Energia, and Leonardo. The goal of this initiative is to evaluate advanced nuclear technologies that can be used in both civilian and military fields. The initial focus is on small modular water-cooled reactors, known as SMRs. That's not the SMR, that's something else. I always make this joke and I'll keep making it. I'll finish with some news. In recent months, new rumors have started to emerge, let me stress rumors, about a program called the Next Generation Aircraft Carrier. According to the first rumors that have come out, Italy should start preliminary studies for the future vessel in 2026. However, When it comes to our country, I want to be especially cautious, so I would wait for official news before going any further or making any assumptions. But if you want, we've dedicated 3 videos to this topic, which I'll leave in the first comment along with today's sources. Those are vetted videos, meaning they've been thoroughly verified with sources, and they're very long videos. I really recommend them because we made them with a lot of heart. That said, if you enjoyed the episode and found it useful in any way, let me know what you think in the first comment, share the episode on your social media, and leave a like. I also invite you to dig deeper. In the first comment, you'll find all the sources mentioned today. See you soon here on Gens Italia. Bye!